Morning, everyone. The quarterly meeting of the Texas State University System Board of Regents is now reconvened in open session. We have a quorum present. Please note that Regent Long is not present. The date is May 26, 2023, and the time is 10:03 a.m. Dr. Danfus, thank you for a great evening. We all enjoyed it. The stadium was great. The Strutters, the history, learning about that was something that I didn't know a lot about, but we certainly have a unique perspective on that. It was great. So thank you for your hospitality, and make sure everyone from your team knows that we truly appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to start with the Student Advisory Board. So with that, the first order of business is the Student Advisory Board. I would like to now invite each of the presidents to introduce their SAB members. President Danfus, would you please begin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll start by introducing someone who's not here that you actually know very well, Gabriel Webb, who is our student regent. He's under the weather a little bit today, so he's not able to be here, but Gabriel's in his last meeting as a student regent. He's a junior from the Hills, Texas, exercise and sports science major, junior at Texas State, and has a 3.6 GPA and has been on the Dean's List several times. He's active in student government, a member of the College Republicans, a member of the Texas State football team from July 2020 to March 2021, and part of the Olympic weightlifting team from April through June of 2021 as well. Our student body president is Kirsten Florence, just inaugurated earlier this spring. She's a junior from New Braunfels, Texas, majoring in business management, minoring in political science. In addition to being a full-time student, she's a member of Alpha Delta Pi sorority and National Society of Leadership and Success, and serves on the Honor Code Council. She's been on the Dean's List every semester of college, and outside of her involvements in dance at school, she works as a dance and fitness instructor, while also serving as the director of a competitive dance team. She also was a member of the Strutters back in the day. She loves Texas State, has wanted to be a Bobcat since she was a kid. Kirsten Florence over there. Thank you for standing up. Next to her is Jacob Jobs. Jacob is a student government representative as director of Freshman Council. Thank you, Jacob, for standing. He's a junior business management major as well from Wimberley, Texas, and also an Eagle Scout. He's serving as a student government freshman council director and is a member of the National Society of Leadership and Success. In addition to being a full-time student, Jacob is also a realtor and a substitute teacher as well. Just two shining examples of students here at Texas State. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Dr. White.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to introduce Joseph Chavez. He is from Katy, Texas, and the outgoing student body president. He's thankful for the remarkable opportunity to have served our community in a leadership role. He achieved the Student Governments Association along with his team to build a community within the student body through events and establishing strong relationships with key figures within the city and the university. He has enjoyed many aspects of campus life. He's a Welcome Week leader, served as an Orange Keys ambassador, and a member of Phi Delta Theta fraternity. He will graduate in December 2023 with a degree in business management. Thank you. Veronica Calderon is here. She's a first-generation senior from Grand Prairie. She's a prominent figure at SAM through her commitment to student leadership and also sustainability initiatives. She's played an active role in the Student Government Association for 3 years. She currently serves as a student body president. She's advocating for student rights and voicing their concerns effectively. She's also an Orange Keys ambassador. She holds a position of social chair for Ubuntu, an organization dedicated to promoting eco-consciousness with the motto, "I am, because of all, we are." Through her inspiring vision, passion, and determination, she wants to motivate others to engage in making a positive impact. Thank you. Jared Scott. We're in transition, so we have more students here. We've got a couple more. Jared is the newly elected Student Government Association Vice President, a native of Tyler. He's a junior majoring in accounting with a minor in finance. As a student dedicated to living out the university's motto, "The measure of a life is its service," he serves our campus as an Orange Keys ambassador, College of Business Administration ambassador, Bearcat orientation leader, president of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, secretary for the National Association of Black Accountants, and community service chair for the Smith-Hudson Scholars. He is amplifying student voices and bridging the gap between administration and students. Thank you. And then lastly, Piper Chang. Piper Chang is the newest Student Government Association Secretary-elect from Phoenix, Arizona. She's a junior majoring health science with a minor in chemistry. She wants to be a neonatal intensive care unit nurse. She's involved in Greek life. She's participating in several health-based organizations. She's education director for Tri Sigma sorority, outreach director for Diversity Council, and is a peer mentor to students in academic recovery. She earned the prestigious title of Miss Sam Houston 2023 earlier this year. And so she has a passion for her peers and wants to use her time and effort to ensure that each student has opportunities to reach their fullest potential. And I'm proud of all of these students.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I'd like to start by introducing Mr. Jake Spurlock. Mr. Spurlock serves as the incoming SGA president at Sul Ross State University. Jake's focus on interpersonal communication and political science led to his involvement as a researcher in the McNair program. He also serves as a chapter president for Lambda Pi Beta's Communication National Honor Society. Jake is the only student in Sul Ross's history to be named the Outstanding Communication Student 2 years in a row. During Jake's studies at Sul Ross, he maintains a 4.0 while growing a deep appreciation and love for higher education and its many disciplinary fields. Thank you, Jake. We also have with us Ms. Heaven Briceño. Heaven is a first-generation student. She's a junior at Sul Ross State University and is the SGA secretary. She is very involved in campus, from being a resident assistant, student support services secretary, and also created our homecoming t-shirt this past year. Heaven plans to create movies to impact others. Thank you, Heaven. Anique Lopez is a senior kinesiology pre-physical therapy major, is the Student Government Association president at Sul Ross State University. Anique also serves as Student Support Services president and was awarded Student of the Year in 21-22. She also serves on 3 campus committees that are Alcohol and Drugs Coalition, Women's Conference Plan Committee, and Campus Environment Survey Coalition. She hopes to help make student a better place for future Lobos. Thank you, Anique. And finally, but certainly not least, our inheritance, if you will, from one of our partner schools from Lamar State College, Port Arthur, Mr. Tyreen Dews. Tyreen is a junior at Sul Ross State University. He currently majors in history and minors in music. Tyreen also works in residential living as a resident assistant and gives a helping hand to many others in the community. Tyreen is a big help in planning events both on and off campus. He's a strong believer in interdepartmental partnerships to ensure students get the best possible experience. In addition to being in SGA, he also participates in the Sul Ross State University Music Club and shares his gift of music with many others in his free time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hernandez. Dr. Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dawson Dorian is newly elected president of the Lamar State College Orange Student Government Association. Dawson just completed his first full year at Lamar State College Orange, where he is working on his prerequisites to enter our nursing program. Prior to being elected as president, Dawson served as the vice president and a senator. He's also a member of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society, where he holds several leadership positions. Dawson has worked on our campus in the library and will soon start a position in the advising office where he'll lead campus tours and help us recruit with our recruiting efforts. Next is Derek Janice Jr. and is a newly elected vice president of our Student Government Association. Derek graduated with honors in the spring of 22, and he's returned in the spring of 23, now studying sociology. Before being elected as vice president, Derek served as a public relations officer and senator in the SGA. Derek works in the Student Center, ensuring that the Gator students enjoy all the extracurricular activities and to help the student engagement and retention at our campus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to introduce 2 students from Lamar State College, Port Arthur. Juan Salazar is our current SGA Vice President. Juan is from Port Arthur, Texas. He is a first-generation student, and prior to assuming office as Vice President, he served as a student ambassador for 2 years and also was a mentor and volunteer for his fellow students. Juan graduated from Lamar State College, Port Arthur with a degree in process operating and has returned to complete an advanced technical certificate in liquefied natural gas manufacturing. Also with us this afternoon or this morning is Juana Alvarez. Juana is our current SGA president. Juana is from Winnie, Texas, and is majoring in vocational nursing. Once she finishes that degree, she also plans to return to complete the Upward Mobility Nursing Program. Juana is a first-generation student and actually the first in her family to graduate from high school. She works full-time as a manager in a local business, and I can't believe she even has any spare time to do this, but she volunteers for the Salvation Army, the Convoy of Hope, and the St. Louis Catholic Church. Prior to serving as president, she was also an SGA senator and vice president.
Thank you. Dr. Valentine?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have with us today our outgoing SGA president and vice president, as well as our incoming SGA president and vice president. Miss Whitney Pugh is our outgoing SGA Vice President. Her major is Management Development and Entrepreneurship. Whitney is pursuing an associate degree in Management Development and Entrepreneurship, focusing on small business. She currently won second place in Facilities Management at the Skills USA competition in Houston, Texas. Upon graduation, she plans to pursue a bachelor's and master's degree in Marketing and Business. Miss Asia Ashan is our outgoing SGA Vice President. Mrs. Ashan has continuously made it her priority not only to manage her schoolwork, but to serve to be active in her community. She has graduated with an Associate of Arts degree in General Studies. She intends to further pursue her career goals in obtaining a bachelor's degree in Business Administration in Marketing with a minor in Communications. Ms. Ashan is also an active participant in Skills USA within the Prepared Speech Division and has won 2 state and 1 national championship thus far. She's also currently preparing for her second national championship occurring in June of 2023. Our incoming SGA president is Jamichael Robertson. His major is HVAC and computer drafting. He's working toward 2 degrees in HVAC and computer drafting, then intends to pursue his career goal by obtaining a bachelor's degree in architecture from Rice University. He's an active member in the Honor Society and HVACR organizations on campus. Furthermore, he wants to own a construction company based in Beaumont, Texas, and give back to his community. And finally, we have Miss Elaine Ferraris. She is our incoming SGA Vice President. Elaine is currently working toward an associate's degree in respiratory therapy at Lamar Institute of Technology. She intends to further pursue her career goal by obtaining a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing. As SGA Vice President, her mission is to represent her fellow students with integrity, empathy, and a commitment to making positive change on campus.
Thank you. Dr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to start with introducing Jonah Smith. He is the president of the Student Government Association. He is a senior and majoring in university studies. He has been a student orientation coordinator and is now an orientation leader. He's a resident assistant, and he is part of our Lamar University Ambassadors program. He's also a member of the Lamar University men's tennis team. He is a member of Omicron Delta Kappa. He's a circle officer and a Lamar University lead student mentor. Jonah has a twin brother and a younger sister, and both are Lamar University students. They're from Port Neches, Texas. Antonio Maldonado is Vice President of Student Government Association. He is a junior political science major. He is a member of the Rio Honors College Honor Society Student Association. He is a member of Lamar University's Pre-Law Society. And recently, he was a cast member for Lamar University's episode of a TV show, The College Tour. He is a member of Omicron Delta Kappa, a member of the Lamar University Moot Court Team, and he's a Smith-Hudson Scholarship recipient and student representative of the Smith-Hudson Leadership Council. He's also a community outreach officer for the Lamar University Hispanic Society. Antonio is from Mexico, and I'm looking forward to working with both of them this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Presidents. At this time, would the SAB outgoing chairwoman, Anique Lopez from Sul Ross State University, please come forward?
Okay, I'm going to start over again just to make sure
problem.
everybody heard me. Sorry about that. Good morning, Chairman Austin, Honorable Regents, and Chancellor McCall. My name is Anique Lopez, and I'm the outgoing Student Body Vice President at Sul Ross State University and the outgoing Chairwoman of the Student Advisory Board. It has been my greatest pleasure and honor to have had the opportunity to serve on the Student Advisory Board of the Texas State University system. As a representative of Sul Ross State University, I am extremely grateful for the opportunities my institution has given me. I have recently obtained my bachelor's in science and kinesiology and human health performance, and I recently won the highest honor at Sul Ross State University as Woman of the Year. That would not have been possible without the Texas State University system. Being a part of the system has opened many doors for me, and being able to be a student representative and allowing me to expand my leadership in and out of the classroom. During my time as a member of the Student Advisory Board, I have gained a deeper level of empathy for all, the delegation of tasks, but most importantly, all while striving to address student needs head on. These experiences have allowed me to be a better, more rounded individual, and for that, I am thankful. I'm so proud to relinquish my position of the Student Advisory Board Chairwoman to Veronica Calderon. She will be our 2023-2024 Chairwoman of the Student Advisory Board and will be an excellent leader of this board. Please give a warm welcome to Ms. Veronica Calderon.
Thank you, Anik. Good morning, Honorable Regents, Chairman Austin, and Chancellor McCall. My name is Veronica Calderon, Student Body President at Sam Houston State University. I'm an upcoming senior, first-generation student from Grand Prairie, Texas, and it is an honor to be returning to this podium, this time as the 2023-2024 Student Advisory Board Chairwoman. If you remember, I spoke on behalf of the Campus Sustainability Report back in November. However, today, I will be highlighting 5 topics the Student Advisory Board members developed as we will further dissect and research to be presented in the report for this year's November Board of Regents meeting. Our first topic is freshman seminar and learning communities. We strongly advocate for the enhancement and continued development of our first-year seminar courses. These courses serve as invaluable opportunities for incoming freshmen to broaden their knowledge and gain a comprehensive understanding of university life. Second topic is addressing student homelessness. We aim to raise awareness and provide assistance for the pressing issue of student homelessness within our institutions, which has unfortunately been overlooked thus far. Our goal is to secure support for a grant and/or fund that will cater to the needs of those students who are in dire need of assistance. Our third topic is campus safety. We strongly advocate for the implementation of safety walks and internal audits to ensure the security of our campus community. This includes regular assessments of technical systems such as cameras and doors with the aim of identifying and addressing any vulnerabilities or areas in need of improvement. Our fourth topic is enhancing student representation. It is crucial to have student representatives in every institution committee, with the discretion of the president, to increase student input and amplify their voices in important conversations. This will foster a more inclusive and democratic decision-making process, ensuring that student perspectives are taken into account. Our fifth and last topic is student housing initiatives. We propose several initiatives to improve student housing. Firstly, implementing a comprehensive roommate matching program to enhance compatibility and create a positive living environment. Secondly, advocating for FAFSA funding to be applicable for off-campus housing, considering the financial needs of students. Lastly, establishing a program or daycare specifically designated to support student parents, enabling them to balance their academic responsibilities while providing necessary support for their children. Additionally, offering opportunities for students to work on campus in exchange for housing during breaks can alleviate financial burdens and provide a convenient living option in the dorms. These are just some of the possible topics that we will further research for our November report. Thank you for your time today. Thank you, Texas State University, for hosting us, and we will see you all again in August in Alpine. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. Regents, are there any questions or comments? I'll speak on behalf of us just to say we enjoyed breakfast always, the quality of the students that are getting produced out of the universities, the presidents. It says a lot about who we are as a system. So it's always good to see you. I know we all enjoy it, enjoy breakfast and the quality of the conversation. So thank you for that. Next order of business, I would like to recognize, this will be Regent Gabriel Webb. He made it this morning, so he's here. Last meeting is our student regent. Gabriel's a Texas State chemistry major and is on track to graduate next year. We understand this summer he'll be busy working 2 jobs, attending summer school, and continuing his internship at the Student Health Center. Chancellor McCall, Regent Webb, and President Danfus. Would you please join Mr. Winnement by the easel?
And I'll read from the certificate. Presented to Gabriel Webb upon the occasion of completion of his term of service as the 2022-23 Student Regent on the Texas State University System Board of Regents in recognition for his dedicated service, considerable time and effort to his duties, and strong stewardship to the Texas State University System, its institutions, and students, presented by the Board of Regents of the Texas State University System on this 26th day of May 2023. Congratulations.
Gabriel, we appreciate your service with us and look forward to following you doing great things. We know that's going to happen. The next order of business is an update from Chancellor McCall. Dr. McCall, you have the floor.
It's a great time to be in Texas, and if you're in Texas and if you're in higher ed, it's a great time to be in the Texas State University system. Being passed out now is a snapshot that we take every year of what the system looks like, alongside some goals as to what we intend for it to look like in the near future. You'll see a number of things. Since 2010, when we started taking these snapshots, the student population has grown 22%, but the degrees awarded have grown by 46%. We're getting better at what we do in getting students through the pipeline. I said we've grown by 22%. That equals about 16,000 students, or a student population the size of SMU and UT Southwestern combined. Our minority headcount is up 23,000 in that same period. But I started talking about it's a great time to be in Texas. Why is that? Well, Texas, as you know, just had a $33 billion budget surplus. At the same time, California has a $32 billion budget shortfall. West Virginia University, a $75 million deficit. Penn State, a $150 million deficit. Rutgers, a $125 million deficit. Marshall, $27 million deficit. University of Kansas, $75 million shortfall. I can go on and on. You saw yesterday that we have healthy capital reserves at our universities and colleges, by design, by hard work, by regent leadership and setting proper tuition rates. But in addition, this legislative session, if it makes it through to the governor's desk and he flings ink on it, it looks like we're in line for $185 million in new money that is reoccurring biennium after biennium going forward, and in some cases growing. In addition to the reoccurring $185 million, we will be receiving $34 million in one-time money across our system, for a total of $218.5 million, reversing the trend in so many states, going against the grain in Texas. And so to Governor Abbott, the members of the House and Senate, the people in this system that work so hard, Pierce, Sean, Daniel, the presidents who at a moment's notice would drop their schedules and come to Austin to testify, because nobody can speak better for the campuses than the presidents. I want to congratulate you, tell you how thankful we are and how thankful we all should be to be here doing what we do the way we do it getting the results that we're getting. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. McCall. Regents, any questions, comments? It is great. We got a snapshot yesterday to see what's going on, and the system staff and everything that's been done from the presidents down. It's just remarkable. Great time to sit here and be a regent for sure. With that, we'll go into the campus update. Texas State University's campus update. This update will be presented by Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Jean Bourgeois.
Thank you, Chairman Austin. I think a number of us have some of these allergies and things that are going around. Well, our update is all focused on the run to R1. I think for the last 5 or 6 years, you guys have heard about the increase in research, the focus on student success, the focus on increasing enrollment. All of those things have been re-emphasized and re-energized by President Danfus. And so this morning, we're going to focus on our Run to R1 research. You'll see a short video, and then I'm asking him afterwards, not only to answer any of your questions, but to give us a brief wrap-up. One other note, so since 2020, when we were at about $70 million in total R&D, this year, we're projecting to hit around $140 million in total R&D. It's a staggering accomplishment, and I suspect that we're going to go higher and higher over the next 2, 3, and 4 years. So if we'll run the video, please.
Texas State University was established over 120 years ago. Today, we're unrecognizable from our inception. The signs are everywhere. More than 200 degree programs, more than 38,000 students. We planted our flag in San Marcos and in Round Rock. Our campus footprint spans the Texas Innovation Corridor with a thriving commercialization incubator and high-tech research labs. It has been a remarkable evolution. What's next for Texas State? We are running toward our next transformation. It's our run to R1. President Kelly Danfus took office in 2022. By the end of that year, the Presidential Commission on the Run to R1 launched, and the race to R1 truly took off. The goal? Achieve R1 by 2027. Achieving R1 requires us to increase the number of PhD graduates and postdoctoral researchers. We expanded scholarships, assistantships, and research programs. That's just the beginning. We're committed to going the distance. More strategies are in the works to propel us forward. So, why run to R1? We run to R1 to solve global challenges, to enrich the student experience, to accelerate our economic impact, to recruit even more of the world's top scholars. We run for our students, for our faculty and staff, for our alumni, for the state of Texas, because we've proven over the last century that we can strive for the next milestone without compromising the strengths that got us here. Reaching R1 status will equip us to deliver a student experience that rivals the best institutions in the country. By conducting research alongside faculty members who are experts in their field, students grow their skills and set themselves apart as scholars. That's already happening in research labs across our campuses. As an R1, we'll spread those opportunities even further and expand degree offerings. The R1 moniker brings with it new opportunities, benefits, and resources for staff and faculty. For our alumni, achieving R1 will increase the value of their degrees and make graduates even more competitive in the job market. Most importantly, we run to R1 for our world, not for prestige or bragging rights or because R1s are inherently better, because that's not the case. We run to R1 because society faces daunting challenges, threats to community safety, dilemmas in public health, depleting natural resources, challenges that demand our best and brightest. It's a tall order, Yet these are some of our greatest strengths in applied research. We can't imagine how we'll transform a century from now. But one thing's certain, we'll build on Texas State's legacy to achieve R1 and keep reaching for the next thing. Join us.
Thank you, Gene, and to our communication team for pulling that video together. We are blessed at Texas State University to have a long legacy and history of research and very high-performing faculty members and students who have been engaged in research, and we're even doubly blessed to be in the state of Texas, where the state is investing in its research universities. The creation of the Texas University Fund will be a game changer for us. The funding that will come here will allow us to enhance our efforts to become an R1 institution, which is a goal that was set long before I got here. I gave it the name Run to R1, but the emphasis started a long time before I arrived here in San Marcos. I will say that it's also important to us to not forget our legacy of student success. And so we have a commission on student success that is standing up alongside. The teaching and research missions have to go hand in hand here. We don't want to leave one behind for the other. Grateful for the leadership of the chancellor and for the system team that worked so hard to help us get to stay in the tough and to receive those funds in the coming years. They will allow us to jumpstart our efforts to become R1 by 2027. It won't be easy, but we're not here to do easy. We're here to do hard, and that's what we've been doing for a long time. It will be easier because of that funding, though. So thank you so much. I'm happy to take any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. We look forward to seeing the new PhDs coming through here. So it'll be
Absolutely.
great. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Kelly. We will now hear the postponed government relations report. Chair Amato. Sean, where are you at?
All of you have with the legislature. We appreciate everything y'all done in the long hours you kept. And thank you for giving this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Regents, Presidents, Chancellor, I want to begin where I normally end my remarks and let you know that I've passed out the federal update for you to read at your leisure. Since we are in the month of May and an odd-numbered year, my remarks are going to focus squarely on the 88th legislative session. We are 3 days away from sine die. That is the last day of the session. While several important items are still pending, we are poised to have a landmark session. I don't want to bury the lead with my remarks to the board this morning, so my presentation will consist of a high-level overview of our legislative accomplishments this session. Also, just want to preface my remarks by saying that the following bills and budget items that I'm going to be referencing are still awaiting final approval, and there's numerous conference committees still meeting and finalizing those pieces of legislation, but we have a pretty good idea of where we'll end up, and nothing quite so final at this point. In matters of policy, the 88th session saw more high-profile pieces of higher ed legislation than normal. I'll begin with an overview of the Senate Bills 17 and 18, which are the diversity, equity, inclusion, and tenure bills that garnered a lion's share of the headlines these past months. There are numerous other bills that will impact our institutions that are either in conference or have yet to pass. We will provide a complete and comprehensive list in the near future so our institutions can begin to implement and operate within the new laws that finally pass and survive the veto pen of Governor Abbott. Tenure. The bill, as it's written, still allows tenure to be granted in the state of Texas. Senate Bill 17 focuses on the post-tenure process and codifies the post-tenure review process that mirrors the practice of many of our institutions. Diversity, equity, inclusion, commonly referred to as just DEI. This bill, in conjunction with a rider in the state budget, would curtail DEI hiring practices as well as defund offices of diversity, equity, inclusion. The bill is still in negotiations. We'll provide more details when that agreement is made. Name, image, and likeness. This bill made several changes to the NIL landscape, but the most notable change appears to provide cover for state schools from being punished by the NCAA for any NIL-related violations, including any committed by collectives that have been set up to support student athletes. Additionally, the legislation allows a college to establish agreements with a third-party entity to facilitate NIL activities on its behalf. Nursing. Senate Bill 25 helps to address the nursing shortage in Texas by providing support for nursing-related post-secondary education, including scholarships to nursing students, loan repayment assistance to nurses and nursing faculty, and grants to nursing education programs. Some Texas State University system-related bills. Unfortunately, House Bill 1960 I have listed here. It would be for downward expansion for Sol Ross. I fully expected it to pass, but unfortunately, it ran out of time and died on the last day that the Senate was hearing second reading bills. But that goes to the top of the list for next session, so I guess that starts our agenda. Senate Bill 1563 was the College of Medicine bill that benefited Sam Houston State. It allows Sam Houston's College of Osteopathic Medical School to receive the formula funding, to receive state formula funding and reduce the amount of tuition paid by its students. The bill has been signed by the governor and is now law effective immediately. Huge congratulations to President White and Sam Houston State University. Lamar State College Orange had a bill that we refer to as the contiguous parish bill that allows students in the neighboring Louisiana parish to count towards in-state funding if they attend Lamar State College Orange. The bill is on the governor's desk and is awaiting his signature. I won't go into the Texas State University system budget. I think the chancellor touched upon it, and you've heard a lot of references to it in the last couple of days and where the conference committee landed. They're likely to take it up, I think, tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then Sunday. You have been provided a one-pager that highlights the success of our system, and look forward to getting those resources over to you. HJR3 is the Texas University Fund that President Danfus had referenced, added $3 billion to the NRUF corpus to get us to have a portion of that endowment, Texas State being one of 4 institutions listed in that, for that endowment. It'll be a game changer for Texas State, and it's run to R1. SJR 81 was another constitutional amendment that will establish a $1 billion endowment split evenly between Lamar State colleges and Texas State technical colleges. This fund is designed for infrastructure support and should provide roughly $17 million a year at about a 3.5% distribution. In conclusion, I want to thank our institution's presidents and staff for working tirelessly this session to aid our efforts. The countless hours of testimony, events with members and staff, and time led to what will be remembered as a transformative session for this system in higher education. A special thank you to Pierce Mitchell, Daniel Harper, Chancellor McCall. This is a great team. I'm proud to be a part of it. We had a lot of success this session, but we also must thank the legislature for their generous investment in our system that I know will continue to pay dividends for students for many years to come. With that, Mr. Chairman, I conclude the governmental relations update.
Thank you very much, Sean. Does anyone have any questions for Sean? Again, I want to thank all of you for all the work y'all have done. Y'all have had a lot of sleepless nights, and we really do appreciate everything.
It's a pleasure.
I know all these folks appreciate it very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Cunningham. Our next item of business is the Texas State University System Foundation update. I'll ask the Foundation's Executive Director, Mike Wintemute, to please come to the podium.
Mr. Chairman, may I just state that we're changing up this presentation a bit. In the past, it was always presented by Mr. Mike Wintemute, and going forward, it will be presented by Dr. Mike Wintemute.
This is true. Congratulations.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And good morning once again. The TSUS Foundation Board of Directors held its quarterly meeting last Wednesday, and this is a very brief summary of items from that meeting. The nomination deadline for the Regents Teacher, Professor, and Staff Excellence Awards has passed, and we have this year received 19 nominations across those 3 award categories. So in the coming weeks, peer committees will evaluate these nominees and recommend the most qualified candidates to the Foundation Board before the August meeting. The nomination deadline for the Regents Student Scholar Award is July 15th, and we will announce those winners at the August meeting as well. TSUS presents. We have closed the book on our biennial fundraiser and system showcase, which was our most successful event to date in terms of total revenue and attendees. The board has approved dedicating more than $150,000 from this event to the Foundation's 2 scholarship programs, the Edmund Kemple Scholarship and the Fernando Gomez Scholarship. And once again, we thank everyone who supported our program, many of whom are here today. Quick report on our investments. At the end of the first quarter, Foundation assets totaled $6.6 million, with nearly $6 million in our undesignated account and the remainder spread across the Foundation's scholarship and grant programs. 68% of the undesignated account was in equities, 13% in fixed income, and 16% in cash. At the end of the quarter, the undesignated account was down 7% compared to the previous year, but up an average of 5.6% over the previous 5 years. And equities were down nearly 8% over the year and up 7% on average over the past 5 years. And that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
as we look back at the Dwight Yoakam event that TSUS presents, one of the things that we didn't point out at the last board meeting, and probably we should congratulate the team that worked on it, is that we had approximately half of the legislature in attendance that evening, which is quite a feat.
That's great.
Had we known we had a quorum, we could have taken some votes.
Thank you, Mike. Or should I say Dr. went to mute? Okay, postponed business from yesterday. The next order of business is postponed business from yesterday. First is the approval of the consent agenda. These items are found at the end of each section in the board book. Are there any objections, or would any member like to remove any items from the consent agenda? I move that these items on the consent agenda requiring approval be approved, and that all other items presented for informational purposes and/or reviewed and approved at the campus level be acknowledged. Is there a second?
Second.
Regent Tinsley? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Having approved the minutes and the consent agenda, the next item under general motions is informational item outlining the dates and locations for the 2023 board meetings. Please refer to the upcoming dates on your screen for your review. At this time, the board will hear public comments. We have 4 people who have signed up to speak today. Each person will have up to 3 minutes to speak, and Dr. Cynthia Hernandez will notify you when your time has expired. Our first speaker is Andrew Maglich.
Good morning, Regents. My name is Andrew Maglich. I'm a former student worker at Texas State and currently the co-chair of YDSA at Texas State, which for the past academic year has run the Raise the Wage campaign, which is a coalition of student workers and their allies working to raise wages for undergraduate student workers at Texas State. This campaign was born out of the struggle and frustration of student workers like myself who have struggled to survive on poverty wages with little to no benefits while the cost of living rises rapidly. Student workers are routinely undervalued, dismissed as replaceable or expendable, ignored, and always underpaid. The demands in this petition that we have today represents the hopes, dreams, and desires student workers have to improve their livelihoods and material conditions as both students and workers. These demands were decided and agreed upon during a collaborative student worker town hall we hosted in March and through numerous meetings with students and student workers. It reads as follows. 1, immediate raises to at least $15 an hour for all undergraduate student workers and temporary employees. 2, yearly cost of living adjustments indexed to inflation. 3, raise the cap on hours workers are allowed per week from 25 to 30. 4, 7 days of paid time off per year. 5, 7 days of paid sick leave per year. 6, fully public and transparent listing of wages and salaries for all positions. 7, freedom to discuss wages, salaries, and compensation without retaliation as required by law. And 8, an end to wage theft, i.e. cease classifying student workers' labor as volunteer hours to avoid paying them for their labor. With the little time I have, I'd like to go through what some of these demands mean. Most notably, $15 an hour is the single largest and most deeply felt demand that student workers have. The fact that Texas State is still paying student workers a minimum wage that has not increased since 2009, while living costs have skyrocketed and tuition has risen significantly, is appalling. We believe that 15 should be the floor and not the ceiling, and the Texas State university system is awash with funds, and yet they're simply not allocated responsibly to meet the needs of these workers. Paying increasingly exorbitant salaries to top administrators rather than addressing the needs of these workers first shows us misplaced priorities. Furthermore, with the cost of living ever increasing, stagnant wages will continue to be an issue, even with a significant wage increase. For this reason, Texas State should provide all undergraduate student workers with yearly cost of living adjustments to their wages, indexed to inflation from the past year. Real wages and spending power will only continue to decrease each year otherwise. I'll skip through some of this just because of time. I'm a former student worker at the Alkic Library, right here where I made $8.25, and despite this, I really valued my job. There's a lot of good to be done and a lot of services to provide with students, but you can't perform well in your work if you can't eat or pay rent. One day in the spring semester of 2021, I was sitting at my desk at work starving. At best, I would bring home about $300 every 2 weeks, every penny of which would go to rent and bills, and even then I would be short. I was sitting there dizzy and lightheaded. I had no money whatsoever, and in desperation, let's see, I've run out of time, but I hope you keep these kinds of experiences with you as you consider our remarks. I'll bring my petition up here to leave for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Layla Anderson.
Hello and good morning to each and everyone here. I would like to, on behalf of Andrew, kind of finish up the statement that he had finished saying at the end of his portion. He was going to go on to talk about how he had asked for an advance on one of his paychecks from his boss. And instead of getting an advance, his boss declined it and then told him that he should apply for SNAP benefits and food stamps instead. And with that, I'm going to begin my portion and say, I am Layla Anderson, and we are all here with a similar purpose, and it's to make changes that improve the lives of college students around Texas. I have been hands-on with the Raise the Wage campaign since some of the early stages as I saw its importance and potential impact on our community from the start. We got to work in August, beginning on outreach, building public connections, and formally launched our public-facing organizing efforts in November. Then in April, we launched our Student Worker Bill of Rights petition targeted at President Damphus, as well as each of you here today. In less than 2 months, our petition has been signed by 1,638 Bobcats, including undergraduate, graduate students, workers, faculty, staff, community supporters, and sponsoring organizations. Workers at Texas State who have previously organized, even on small scales, have been retaliated against or even fired for protected activities like seeking raises or addressing workplace conditions. Despite being an essential workforce at Texas State, one the university would cease to function without, Texas State doesn't treat them as such. Appreciation weeks, banners, pizza parties, awards ultimately do not increase the one thing that impacts workers' quality of life, and that is real wages. Without substance, the words of appreciation are a little bit hollow platitudes. During our student worker town hall, we gave the workers an opportunity to talk to us about their jobs. All but a couple were undergraduate student workers, and those are the group whose wages we are looking to raise. During the town hall, workers from one department told us of empty promises that were consistently made. We had multiple workers from one department that have asked to remain unnamed state that their employer told everyone whenever they were hired that they would receive a 50-cent raise for every semester they stayed working and employed in that specific department. That never happened, and the promise was never kept. Wage theft, to be blunt, is defined as an employer not paying or underpaying a worker for their labor that at the agreed upon wage. This could happen through blatant withhold of pay or through misclassification of hours worked. One campus undergrad student worker department is experiencing this right now at this very moment. They are experiencing wage theft because their unpaid labor is the exact same scope of work that they perform while being paid, and it is not optional, despite being falsely labeled as volunteer hours. They perform the exact same tasks on the clock as they do during their non-optional volunteer hours, creating wage theft right here on the campus you are visiting or serving, Texas State University. In Dr. Dampus's own inspiring words, we aren't here to do easy, we are here to do what is hard. Thank you for my time.
Thank you. Daniel Gomez.
Good morning, Regents of the Texas State University System. My name is Daniel Gemez Gomez. I'm a member of the YDSA and a proud student of Texas State. As a freshman here, I have only worked on the Raise the Wage campaign for one semester, and yet it only took me a percentage of that time to realize the true state of affairs on campus. There exists a prevailing belief that student workers broadly work for leisure for expendable income. This is a gross misconception of reality. After ample inquiry, we have uncovered the grisly truth that here at Texas State University, many student workers do not thrive, but are in fact forced to survive. We found that a vast majority of the students we surveyed struggle to pay for even the most basic of necessities. Food, housing, and hygiene stop being questions of when they will be covered, but become ambiguous anxieties of how they will be acquired. This is the life many workers are forced to lead in our wider economy, but add the responsibilities of schoolwork, tuition payments, and student loan debt, and the student worker is financially crippled, buckling under the weight. Wages below or at $10 are often the culprit for this, and yet we found this trend in most places we looked. The university adds so much to a student worker's plate, and yet denies that worker the meal. Just as a student worker has been denied the basic benefits of their labor, they have been negated the basic respect of their humanity. We were told that students were made to feel explicitly expendable, replaceable, and typical. We discovered workers who were intimidated, cowed into not speaking out against their superiors, almost entire departments coerced into silence. One is then forced to consider the question, how is it we know these things if they feared the repercussions? Because they were compelled to do so anonymously. So frightened were they to fight the hand that hardened them. As Texas State proceeds in its devaluing of the student backbone, another Texas college outpaces us in an unfortunate race to supply livable wages. Austin Community College, despite its smaller budget and tuition, is able to provide a $20 minimum wage to its workers. What conclusion does the student body have to draw from this debasement of the relationship between the university and its student worker staff? That the university cares not for its student workers as Austin Community College does, for they are supplying this to a similar student body of roughly 41,000 individuals. It is a further delusion to forget that we pride ourselves in being a minority-serving institution and thus seek to elevate minorities who are disadvantaged from birth. Is it not the individual, striving character of a successful minority that makes it out of the poor, rural towns of the border? Is it not the enterprising youth who makes it out of inner-city poverty? Has their trajectory been cut short here? These students, who are often the children of immigrants and the impoverished, come here for opportunity. We deny them the opportunity to flourish when we clip their wings. It is an even more tragic delusion to forget that from the minorities that do exist, we only serve the most fortunate, the lucky few who get to come to university at all. Does it not fall to us, then, to make this small portion of the state better, the little portion that we influence and control? To be clear, we should not only be making these students' lives theirs again, but we would also be reaping the benefits of the well-oiled machine this university could become. Happy workers work harder and longer, knowing they are being treated with the respect afforded to so many others in our society. Let us not mistreat them in this way any longer. Make the right choice. Raise the wage.
Thank you. Ann Adams.
Hello, my My name is An, and I'm a recent graduate of Texas State, and I was a student worker at Texas State for the past 2 years. In my time at Texas State, I have been a part of the Raise the Wage campaign to increase student worker pay. Today, I want to talk about student worker wages at Texas State and the cost of living in San Marcos and on campus. The reality is that Texas State does not pay its student workers enough to even live in San Marcos or on the Texas State campus. Most workers get paid $10 an hour or less. This means that a student employee getting paid $10 an hour makes about $1,000 a month. In San Marcos, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is $1,228. And on the Texas State campus, the cheapest dorm option is $3,300 a semester, which comes out to about $825 per month of the semester. Clearly, $1,000 a month is not nearly enough for a student employee to live in San Marcos or on campus, and as a result, these wages force students into significant debt, poor living situations, poverty, and homelessness. This reality is one that many student workers have spoken to the Raise the Wage campaign about, as 82.6% of all workers surveyed by Raise the Wage report struggling to pay for housing, food, or other living expenses while working on campus. What does it say about Texas State and the TSUS Board of Regents that they do not pay their employees enough to even live in the city that they work and attend school in? This is a massive failure of the institution and must be addressed by raising student worker wages to at least $15 an hour. Instead of addressing the working and living conditions of its employees, Texas State's recent financial decisions indicate that they care little about whether they are forcing their employees into poverty. In 2021, the university purchased a home for the incoming president, Dr. Kelly Dampus, for $2.9 million. The house was appraised for $877,000 that year. While the university bought a home for over 3 times its appraised value, its student workers were working multiple jobs, struggling to pay for food and health care, and taking out loans. Additionally, it is disheartening to hear that the agenda for this meeting includes items to increase the pay of Chancellor Brian McCall and Chief Audit Executive Carol Fox for fiscal year 2024, while student employees continue to earn poverty wages. It is incomprehensible that the university and the Board of Regents would allow these conditions to persist in its workplaces and would pay its student workers wages that force them to rely on food stamps, loans, and welfare programs. A raise for student workers to at least $15 is more than possible for an institution as large as the TSUS. Ultimately, it is up to Texas State and the TSUS Board of Regents to ensure that students and employees at Texas State are fairly compensated. The Raise the Wage campaign is fighting to make this a reality, and we are very proud to have made community amongst student workers to organize for better workplaces and better conditions so that we can effectively improve the campus community. Now it is up to university administrations and the board to decide whether they will make the decision to support their employees or continue to devalue, disrespect, and underpay them. And I will leave our petition here for the board. Thank you.
Thanks. That concludes public comments. Thanks to all who participated this morning. For the record, Texas State University leadership has offered to discuss issues presented in the public comments, and you are encouraged to engage with the leadership as necessary. Our next quarterly meeting will be August 10th and 11th in Alpine. If there is no objection, we will now adjourn this meeting of the Board of Regents of the Texas State University System. We wish everyone a happy and safe Memorial Day weekend. For the record, the time is 11:03 a.m.